poison. It's in your veins, so sweet. Feel the heat, this thrill is ultra cheap. Freezing cold down to the soles of your feet. Injected, the main line is open. What's that unholy scent? Seductive. Lie down on my gurney, relax. What's that pinch? My pet spider's bite. His venom is lightning fast. Seductive poison. You lit, you need it. Hold on, baby. It's a sweet, sweet ride. Close your eyes. Say goodnight. I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared. Be kind, be honest, be courageous. I wanna be a leader, don't be afraid. A voice whispers inside, you have the power to change the wrong. Bring vision the past, build the future. Plant positive in your garden and watch it grow. I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared.
Hey guys, I know you're not in here to look and see what I look like, but I do apologize. I have not been feeling well this week, and I'm feeling a little better now. So I thought I would pop on here for another chapter in my path to becoming a positive renegade. If anybody did the homework, it wasn't a requirement. But if anybody did any homework from the last episode of my path to becoming a positive renegade, feel free to share in the chat if you would like. If not, that's fine too. I may give some homework. Keep in mind, though, this is not a requirement. I can't, I'm not going to try to come and make you do homework. But let me do a little housekeeping stuff before we get into chapter 2 of my path to becoming a positive renegade. And this is not only for me, it's for you there as well, right? Hey, the poet. I'm glad to see you in here again. Like I said, the poet is kind of my staple. He's usually in here for all these that I do. And I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything like that. I'm just saying, some people are staples. And some people are staples as far as watching. They would, maybe they can't get on chat. Maybe they're on their phone or watching on TV or, whatever, and they're not able to chat. I know some people have told me, well, I was, watching you on TV or whatever, and I couldn't, I couldn't chat, which is perfectly fine. Again, that's not a requirement. But hopefully, I can get back to the regularly scheduled programming next week, with all the stuff that you've come to know and hopefully to love over time, that I do. I'm also planning on doing the insomnia cure, and they're all messed up. They kept unfortunately getting rescheduled due to me, not feeling my best. But like I said, I wanted to pop on here tonight for a little quick thing. I don't plan on this being like super long unless we have some discussion, and it might be a little bit longer. But before we get into it, I did want to share something that me and Candace just started, and I just got the page up this evening before I came on here for this. And I'm actually going to put it in the chat. And this is the um, Cinema Chicks Soup Club. And Candace had talked to me about creating a soup club. And so now we have one. We have a Facebook group page. And I will actually show y'all what it looks like here. As soon as I get my bearings here. Share screen. And you can hopefully see that is our cover photo for Cinema Chick Soup Club. And it's where people can come and share soup, chili recipes, what have you. And you can also share movies, because that's something that is a love that both me and Candace share. And I'm sure there's a lot of you guys and gals out there that share this too, because guys cook too. I know they do. I know it's not just ladies. So head on over to the Cinema Chicks Soup Club. You could probably search for that. If you don't have the link, you can share with friends and family members. It's like my channel. You can share with friends and family members you think might enjoy reading what's going on at the Cinema Chicks Soup Club, checking out the recipes, checking out movie suggestions, and all kinds of good things. I hope is going to come out of this Facebook group. So it's a public group right now, so you can just go and, you don't have to wait to be invited or anything like that. And hopefully we won't have any problems that necessitate it becoming a private group. Right now it's public. But you can see where I have added the first recipe. This is a easy Texas chili. Now, I know there's going to be people from Texas that say that's not Texas chili. Well, folks, I didn't come up with the name of it. Whoever this person was that put this recipe on allrecipes.com is the one that called this easy Texas chili. I did not. So don't knock me for that. I was right before me and Steve got married, I was mainly looking for a recipe for a chili that doesn't call for noodles, because Steve doesn't like elbow macaroni. He doesn't like spaghetti noodles in his chili. So this is one I came up with. I have modified it over time. I use dark red kidney beans instead of pinto beans. And I use Hunt's fire roasted tomatoes in mine. But you can modify this sucker any way that you want. So mainly I've been the one that I kicked things off and thought I would make everybody feel, welcome and stuff, by going on and posting a recipe in there. So, but before we get to the matter at hand, I did want to remind everybody that there are several different ways that you can support me in the channel, and it won't cost you a dime. One of the ways is by subscribing. it's never a bad time to subscribe to anyone's channel, not just mine, anyone's channel that you enjoy the content that they're putting out, right? And there's lots of wonderful YouTube channels out there on a variety of topics. There's topics for everything, right? From, recipes to telling you how to fix your car, fixing things around the house, people's favorite movies, and doing countdowns and doing reviews and doing interviews with people and all kinds of stuff. Music, comic books, what have you. Uh, the possibilities are endless out there, folks. And once you subscribe to someone's channel, here's another thing you can do. You can hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content either I or somebody else is putting out. Okay. So hit the like button if there's something that you especially enjoy. And heck, if you like it all, hit that like button all across the board, folks. And here's one more way that you can support me and the channel. And it won't cost you a dime, won't cost anybody you tell about the channel a dime. And that is by sharing with friends and family members that you think might enjoy the content I'm putting out. Share my channel with them. And that's at Deadites on Deck. That is the channel handle, folks. All right. So let's get to chapter 2 of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. And the title of this particular chapter is Remember, It's Not a Competition. And I've had to tell myself, I always include myself in this stuff. I don't want anybody to feel like, well, Dana's just up here pointing fingers and trying to say that other people are doing these things. No, I've been guilty of these things too. And that's why I'm sharing with you. So hopefully that we can make places like YouTube and other forms of social media a more pleasant place to be, right? Okay. So what I'm saying is don't fall into these traps that I fell into. And the trap I'm going to talk about tonight is competition. I do have a competitive nature, folks. Believe it or not, this gal does. And I've found myself falling into that trap many, many times, not just with YouTube or other social media outlets, but just in day-to-day life, whether it's my job or whatever. And you got to stop and check yourself. Every once in a while, you got to have a little checks and balances there, because you can go too far with the competition thing. And the thing to remember is we're all out here just trying to do our best, right? So why do we don't need competition. What we should be doing is we should be helping each other out. We should be supporting each other and all that good stuff. We should not be saying, well, so-and-so's got so many subscribers. Why don't I have that many subscribers? I've caught myself doing that. And I've had to tell myself, Dana, back up, back up, back up. It's not a competition game. You do your thing and let other people do their thing. And eventually you will get the merit you deserve, right? But if you waste so much time being competitive against another channel or 5 other channels or whatever and say, why, poor me, poor me, poor me. That's not being productive. It is not being productive. So what do you need to focus on? Okay. What you need to focus on is, how can I make my channel better? How can I make my Facebook group better? How can I make my TikTok videos better? Whatever you're doing, you need to look inward and say, what can I do? Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. What can I do to make people want to come to either my YouTube channel, my Facebook group page, my TikTok, my Instagram, whatever whatever is your poison of choice, right? Okay. And I don't mean poison in a bad way, but how I have those pick your poison things where I do different taste tests. And people will say, well, what's your poison? When they're talking about a drink. So I'm thinking of it in those terms, right? So, um, so whatever the social media outlet or the multiple social media outlets that you are utilizing, whether you're showing people, how to build models, whether you're showing people how to make plushies, whether you're doing a movie reviews and watch alongs and stuff like that, whether you're interviewing people, whatever you are doing. And I tend to focus on YouTube so much because that's become a big part of me in the last few years, is that I like maintaining a channel. I like putting content out. But you can apply a lot of the same stuff to any of the social media outlets that are out there. If you're not a fan of YouTube, but you're a fan of TikTok, for instance, then you could apply these same principles to whatever you're using. So, like I said, the important thing is to remember you should not be in the YouTube game or the TikTok game or the Instagram game, Facebook game, whatever it is, to compete with people. You should be doing it because you enjoy it. And you should be, again, looking inward to see what you can do to improve whatever, the social media outlet of choice that you're using. What can you do? And those are all positive ways you can do it. Sitting around and feeling jealous of somebody else's channel, which I have done myself. Again, I'm including myself in here. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm saying if you sit around and you're feeling jealous of other people's channels out there, don't. Stop. Stop. Okay? That's what I had to tell myself. Stop. And if that means you stop going and looking and seeing what other people are doing, then do it. Sometimes you got to reel yourself in and keep yourself from watching other people's stuff. Like people that don't want movies to be spoiled for them, they stay away from all forms of social media when a big movie's about to come out. Same principle kind of applies here. If you want to better yourself and your channel or whatever your social media presence is, this even can apply if you have a shop online. If you want to better that social media presence, then you gotta go your own way, like the Fleetwood Mac song says. Go your own way. Go rogue. Rogue doesn't have to be, like have bad connotations. Think outside the box. Try something that you've never tried before. Right? If you've never tried a podcast, you don't have to be on camera for a podcast, folks. So for those of you that don't, feel comfortable being on camera, you can do an audio only podcast. You can put it on YouTube. You can have a big image up there, right? Nobody says that, you have to do it like so-and-so's doing, right? Carve your own path. That's been the source of my happiness. If I try to make carvings in somebody else's path, it never works. So I got to carve my own path. Yeah, exactly, the poet. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, like the song says. Exactly. That is exactly right, the poet. Would like to stress that you need to look inward for inspiration, whether it's a YouTube channel, a Facebook group page, a TikTok page, an Instagram page, a shop that where you're selling, whatever you're selling, right? And some people might be thinking, well, these are givens, Dana. This is elementary. Okay, well, if it was that easy, why do we all keep falling into these traps? I have found myself falling into the same daggone traps over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm bound to find myself falling into them in the future. It's like when somebody is an alcoholic, or they have whatever addiction somebody may have, whether it's a food addiction, an alcohol addiction, whatever it is, right? It's very, smoking, whatever it is. It's easy to say, I'm done with that, I'm stopping that. But it's a whole other ball game to actually do it. There are not too many people that are like my dad. When my dad quit smoking, here's an analogy for you. When my dad quit smoking and he decided he was done with cigarettes, my mom said that my dad just crumpled up the pack of cigarettes and he never went back to them again. I realized there's not a whole lot of people that have that kind of willpower. My mom has tried to quit several times. But you know what? I think part of it is, and I'm not saying anything bad about my mom or anybody else that's tried to quit smoking a bunch of times or tried to quit alcohol a bunch of times and not been able to. But the truth of the matter is, and this has been said many, many times, I'm not the first person to say it, that you have to want to do something. Deep inside you have to want to do something. So it doesn't happen overnight. Perhaps my dad had been thinking about quitting smoking for months or years. And he finally just said, I'm done. And again, my dad never, ever, ever picked up a cigarette again. And I'm sure there have been people, whether they've been through treatment or not been through treatment, that have stopped alcohol like that. Some people need a little more help. But the point I'm making with this is that I don't expect, nor should you expect, change to happen overnight with any of this stuff that I'm talking about or any of the stuff that somebody else might tell you. I'm not a professional, folks. I'm not a professional anything. But all I'm trying to do is get out here and let people know, for people that care to discover, that there are a lot of different ways that you can become more positive. And not just out on social media, but in your daily life, in your interactions with people. I want to spread some positivity around. Because again, when I started this series of streams, I told everybody, I feel like there is a lot of negativity out there on the internet, in social media in particular. And I explained reasons why I thought that was happening. But now we want to just keep having building blocks to this until we build a big positive tower, right? And so, I mean, that's really what I wanted to get on here and express to everybody. Like I said, I don't intend these to be long, like rants or anything, or I don't want them to be rants at all. And I don't want people to see them as rants. They're just little tips, 20, 30 minutes. I get on here and I talk about, and, I could keep going and keep going and keep going, but eventually you're going to retread the same territory and people are going to say, why are you beating a dead horse, Dana? As they would say to anybody that just kept going over the same stuff over and over and over again. So these are just little tips and tricks to help all of us hopefully become more positive, not only out there on the internet and social media, but in your day life where you're actually interacting face to face with people, right? So, if anybody has any questions to ask me, I will try my best to answer them. DePoe, you say, look at Scrooge, took three ghosts and the last one was death and he changed. Exactly. And, sometimes it's tough love. And I think that's what happened to Scrooge. And that's a good point to make. We're getting close to Christmas. Um, and it's good to bring up things like it's good to bring up that kind of stuff at any time, but it's particularly it's poignant at this time of the year. So I am so glad that you brought that up. In fact, the poet, I want to put that up on the screen because I think that's very, very important for everybody to see this, whether they're watching this now or they watch this, on the replay. We don't really want people getting to the point where they're faced with death before they change. But what I think is really important to take away from what the poet said is that we should look inward to ourselves again. Should it take something that drastic to make us change, or could we make little baby steps so we don't get to that point? But the other part of that shows that even the most bitter, miserable, miserly person can change. I think that is probably the ultimate positive that we can take from that statement. And so I was trying to think of some homework that I could give to you guys and gals. I'm waiting to see if anybody has any questions or comments or anything that they want to make. And, if you didn't get to watch this live, because I know it was a little bit short notice, and I do apologize for that, but I just got to be in my bonnet and wanted to do another one of these positive Renegade episodes. If you think of something that you want to ask or you just want to comment on, keep it clean, keep it nice, folks. But something that you want to ask or something you want to comment on, or suggest a topic for an upcoming positive Renegade episode, please feel free to put it in the comments. If you like I said, if you didn't get a chance to watch this live, the great thing about YouTube, if there could be at least one great thing about YouTube, is that barring anything exploding or disappearing or going into a black hole or whatever, you can always go back and watch these things on the replay, right? So what kind of homework do I want to give? And remember, this is voluntary, people. I just, sometimes it helps me to sit down and actually do some homework and write things out and brainstorm and do all that stuff. So here's your homework should you choose to accept it. Write down 3 times where you felt like you were in competitive mode. And it can be in real life. It can be a social media thing like YouTube, Facebook, whatever. And also, a bonus question is, were you able to overcome it? And if you were able to overcome it, how did you do that? And if people want to share the next one of these I do, I would love to do that. If you want to put that in the comments for this video, I would love that as well. And I'm going to go ahead and tie things up, I guess. But thank you to Poet for being in here, and thank you for commenting. You always make very thoughtful and conscientious comments, especially when I'm covering stuff like this. Um, and So I just want to thank anybody that was watching this as well that maybe didn't feel comfortable chatting. And for all of you that will watch this on the replay, I thank you as well. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off here, and this is especially pertinent to this series of streams, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail, because you can do both, folks. You don't have to be a jerk to blaze that trail, okay? That's a thing to remember and to also take away from these streams, hopefully. And if you love Aussie as much as I do, get out there and blast some Aussie. If you're feeling down, put a little Aussie on, and it always makes me feel better, right? I love each and every one of you guys and gals out there, and I'll see everybody next time.
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better.